Hey coin lovers! Today we're diving into the fascinating history of the Lincoln cent during America's Bicentennial era and revealing the top 4 Bicentennial Lincoln cents that could be hiding serious value. First up, in 2009, the United States Mint launched a historic coin series to honor the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. And what emerged was one of the most talked about modern cent releases in recent history. Among the 4 designs, the Birth and Early Childhood Lincoln cent, released first in the series, captured collectors' attention with its powerful simplicity and deep historical meaning. But what makes the 2009 Birth and Early Childhood Lincoln Bicentennial cent, uncirculated, so special? What is its origin, design, and current value in today's coin market? Let's take a journey through its full story. No gaps, no headlines, just the complete truth from the copper up. Soft transition, coin spinning slowly in 3D. The 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial series was introduced to commemorate 2 important moments, the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself, which first appeared in 1909. The series featured 4 unique reverse designs representing different chapters of Lincoln's life: his birth and childhood in Kentucky, his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and his presidency in Washington, D.C. The first coin in the series, released on February 12, 2009, was the Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky design. This reverse shows a simple yet deeply symbolic log cabin, the very structure where Lincoln was, born in 1809 near Hodgenville, Kentucky. Designed by Richard Masters and sculpted by Jim Licoretz, the log cabin is a tribute not just to Lincoln's beginnings, but also to the enduring values of humble origins, family, and perseverance. The obverse, or front, of the coin continued to feature the classic Victor D. Brenner portrait of Lincoln that had appeared on all cents since 1909. This blend of old and new was intentional, linking the past century of Lincoln cent production to the story of the man behind the face. But there's something more important that happened in 2009. For the first time in decades, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents using 2 different compositions, one for circulation and one for collectors. The circulating coins, which were made for general use, were struck in the same zinc core with copper plating that had been used since 1982, totaling just 2.5% copper. But the uncirculated collector versions, like the one we're focusing on today, were made from a special composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a respectful nod to the original 1909 wheat cent alloy. These were sold by the Mint in special sets and not intended for general circulation, which makes them more desirable and valuable to collectors. Each uncirculated coin is carefully struck using higher pressure and polished dies to create a sharper, more lustrous finish. When kept in pristine condition, ideally still in mint packaging, these coins maintain their full red color and show off the intricate wood grain detail in the log cabin, the layered roof shingles, and the foliage surrounding the structure. Now let's talk mintage numbers. In total, the U.S. Mint produced 284.4 million of the 2009 Birth and Early Childhood cents for circulation, with 350 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint and over 129 million at the Denver Mint. However, the uncirculated 95% copper versions were released as part of the Mint's 2009 uncirculated coin sets, and their numbers are significantly lower. The final mintage for these collector-only cents is just 784,614 sets, which includes all 4 bicentennial designs in the 95% copper alloy. Because of this limited mintage and their superior quality, uncirculated 2009 Birth and Early Childhood Lincoln cents are highly collectible, especially in mint state grades like MS67 red or higher. So what about value? As of today, A raw, uncirculated 2009 birth and early childhood Lincoln cent made of 95% copper typically sells for $1 to $3 when taken from mint sets. However, graded examples, those certified and slabbed by third-party graders like PCGS or NGC, command higher prices. Next up, in 2009, the United States Mint released a 4-coin series of Lincoln cents to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself. Each coin in this series depicts a different chapter of Lincoln's life, and the second release in that lineup is known as the 2009 Formative Years Lincoln Cent. This coin honors Lincoln's early years of growth, learning, and manual labor in Indiana between the ages of 7 and 21. It is during this time that Lincoln began to shape his character through reading, education, and hard physical work, all while helping his family survive on the American frontier. The design of the reverse side of this cent is a beautiful and symbolic depiction of this period. Created by U.S. Mint Artistic Infusion Program artist Charles Vickers, the reverse shows a young Abraham Lincoln sitting on a log, book in hand, and a mallet nearby on the ground. He is barefoot, dressed in simple pioneer clothing, surrounded by nature and completely absorbed in his reading. The log and tools at his side reflect his hands-on labor, while the book reflects his growing passion for learning and self-improvement. Together, they capture the dual identity of a young man destined for greatness. The obverse side of the coin retains the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, which first appeared on the Lincoln cent in 1909. This continuity between old and new is intentional, linking Lincoln's legacy with his life story as told through these commemorative designs. While many people are familiar with the general release of the 2009 Lincoln cents, fewer realize that two distinct types were struck that year. The coins made for general circulation were composed of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, the same composition used since 1982. But for collectors, the U.S. Mint struck a separate version in a higher quality finish and a more traditional metal composition. These were sold in special mint sets and offered as brilliant uncirculated coins. These BU versions were made from a 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc alloy, the same as the original 1909 Lincoln cents. The U.S. Mint referred to them as premium satin finish strikes. This change was made not just for quality, but to honor the traditional materials used during the Lincoln cent's origins. BU coins were not released into circulation, but were included in collector sets sold directly by the U.S. Mint. They received extra care during the minting process. Higher pressure and cleaner dyes created a sharper, smoother strike with richer color and more detailed surfaces than the regular business strike coins. The mintage for the 2009 Formative Years Lincoln cent in general circulation was enormous. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 376 million coins, while the Denver Mint struck over 363 million. However, the brilliant uncirculated 95% copper versions were only available in the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial 1-cent coin set and the 2009 U.S. Mint uncirculated coin set. In total, just over 784,000 of these sets were sold, making these coins far more limited than their circulation counterparts. Because of their superior strike, metal composition, and relatively low mintage, the BU 2009 Formative Years cents are more valuable to collectors, especially in pristine, unhandled condition. In the current market, a raw, brilliant, uncirculated 2009 Formative Years cent taken from a mint set typically sells for about $1 to $3. However, certified coins graded by major grading services like PCGS or NGC can be worth much more. A coin graded MS67 red by PCGS might sell for $20 to $40 depending on the buyer, while an MS68 red can fetch between $150 and $300 or more. It is important to note that coins must be flawless to reach such high grades, and even the tiniest mark can drop their value. Color is also a major factor in value. Uncirculated Lincoln cents are graded based on their original red color, designated as RD for red, RB for red-brown, and BN for brown. BU coins that retain their full red copper luster command the highest premiums. Next up, in 2009, the United States Mint honored the legacy of Abraham Lincoln with a special four-coin series celebrating the 200th anniversary of his birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent itself. Each design in the series represents a pivotal chapter in Lincoln's life, from his humble birth in Kentucky to his rise as one of America's greatest presidents. The final coin in the series, known as the Presidency design, reflects the height of Lincoln's public life, his time in the White House, leading the nation through one of its most defining and divisive eras. This particular version, the 2009 D Presidency Lincoln Bicentennial Cent in brilliant uncirculated condition, was struck at the Denver Mint and carries the D Mint mark just below the year on the obverse. While billions of Lincoln cents have been minted over the decades, this specific issue stands out because of its unique reverse design, historical significance, and premium uncirculated finish crafted for collectors. The obverse of the coin continues to feature the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. That image has remained virtually unchanged for over a century, symbolizing Lincoln's enduring place in American history. The reverse, however, is what makes this coin special. Designed by U.S. Mint artist Susan Gamble and sculpted by Joseph Mena, it depicts the U.S. Capitol dome in mid-construction, a symbolic representation of a nation in transformation. The unfinished dome reflects the state of the Union during Lincoln's presidency, when the country was fractured by civil war and undergoing dramatic change. Even as the Capitol was being completed, so too was Lincoln laying the groundwork for a new vision of America, one defined by liberty, unity, and equality. The Capitol image is surrounded by the words United States of America, 1 cent, and the classic motto, A pluribus unum. The attention to detail in the architecture, including the scaffolding and partially built dome, gives this coin a level of artistry that deeply resonates with collectors and historians alike. Now, what makes the 2009 D Presidency Centie in brilliant uncirculated condition different from those found in everyday circulation? While the general public received billions of 2009 Lincoln cents struck in a standard business strike with a zinc core and copper plating, the U.S. Mint also produced a much smaller quantity of special collector coins using the original 1909 metal composition, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. These copper coins were included in 2009 mint sets and sold directly to collectors. Unlike circulation coins, the brilliant uncirculated versions were struck with greater pressure using cleaner dies and planchets, resulting in sharper detail, smoother fields, and a distinct satiny finish. The BU coins, especially those with the D Mint mark, are far more limited in mintage and are never released into general circulation. Instead, they are preserved in sealed mint packaging, which helps maintain their original red color and crisp strike. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced over 198 million of the 2009 Presidency cents for circulation. However, the brilliant uncirculated copper versions were only available through mint sets, and fewer than 800,000 of these sets were sold that year. That puts the estimated mintage for each of the 4 copper BU cents, including the Presidency design, at around 784,000, making them far scarcer than their zinc-plated counterparts. When it comes to value, the 2009 D Presidency Lincoln Bicentennial Cent in BU condition generally commands a modest premium if it's raw and taken directly from a mint set. Most raw BU examples sell for around $1 to $3, depending on quality and color preservation. However, coins that have been professionally graded and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC are significantly more valuable, particularly those that achieve high mint state grades with a red designation. A coin graded MS-67 red can sell for $30 to $50, while an MS-68 red is considerably rarer and may fetch $150 or more at auction. As with all copper coins, color plays a major role in value. Red, red-brown, and brown designations describe the surface, color, and indicate the level of oxidation. Full red coins that retain their bright mint luster are always worth more. To maximize value, the coin should remain untouched, with no fingerprints, scratches, or toning. The original government packaging is ideal for long-term preservation. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and wondered if it's just 1 cent or a tiny piece of American history? Today, we're diving into a very special coin that's more than just pocket change. It's the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial cent, specifically, the formative years design, struck in Denver and preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition. This is not just a coin, it's a tribute to one of America's most iconic presidents, a reflection of historical craftsmanship, and for some lucky collectors, a hidden gem of value. Let's travel back to 2009, the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. To honor this milestone, the United States Mint released 4 special reverse designs of the Lincoln cent, each representing a major chapter in Lincoln's life. The second design in the series, the one we're talking about today, is known as the Formative Years cent. This design captures young Abraham Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book while taking a break from splitting rails. It's a powerful image, one that symbolizes not just the man's humble beginnings, but also the American dream itself, that with hard work and education, anyone can rise. The obverse of the coin retains Victor David Brenner's original 1909 Portrait of Lincoln, which has graced the penny for over a century. But it's the reverse design by sculptor Charles Vickers that stands out. He masterfully depicts the young Lincoln in Indiana around the age of 21. His axe rests at his side, a reference to his laborious frontier life, while he reads a book, reminding us that Lincoln was largely self-taught. This design was chosen to reflect Lincoln's growth and intellectual development during his formative years, a time that shaped the future president's character and philosophy. Now, let's talk about the D mint mark. That means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the 2 major facilities that produced these coins, the other being Philadelphia. The Denver Mint has long been known for sharp strikes and clean details, especially in uncirculated coins. So when we say BU, or brilliant uncirculated, we're referring to coins that were never intended for general circulation. They were specially struck, carefully handled, and preserved to retain their original mint luster. These coins often show no wear, sharp details, and have a bright, flashy appearance that collectors love. In terms of mintage, the 2009 Formative Years cent had a fairly high production run. Over 363 million pieces were struck. That's a lot of coins, and it means that most circulated examples today aren't particularly rare. However, condition is everything in coin collecting. While circulated versions might only be worth face value or slightly more, uncirculated and high-grade examples are a different story. If you happen to own one in pristine condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, it could fetch anywhere from $2 to $15 or more depending on the buyer, the market, and overall eye appeal. And if you have a coin with a recognized variety or error, the value can jump even higher. Speaking of errors, 2009 was a unique year, not only because of the special reverse designs, but also because of the number of interesting die varieties and errors that came out of the mints. For the Formative Years cent, some examples show doubled dies, particularly on Lincoln's fingers as he's holding the book. These doubling effects are visible even to the naked eye if you know what to look for. Coins with strong doubling in this design can sell for $50, $100, or even several $100s depending on rarity and grade. So it's worth inspecting your 2009 formative years cents with a magnifier, or taking them to a coin dealer for a second opinion. Another factor affecting value is whether the coin is part of an original U.S. mint set or was obtained separately. Coins from mint sets tend to be better struck and have better surfaces. If your coin came from a U.S. mint set issued in 2009, especially if it remains sealed, it may command a premium simply because of its condition and origin. Now you might be asking, why does this coin matter? It's just a penny, right? Well, the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial cents are part of a short-lived series that marked a turning point in U.S. coinage. They were among the last Lincoln cents made from the copper-plated zinc alloy before the shield reverse design was introduced in 2010. They also represent one of the rare times in modern history that the U.S. changed the reverse of the penny multiple times in a single year. For collectors, that makes the 2009 series especially important. It tells a story of Lincoln's life, of American values, and of numismatic innovation.